Every day, the future's getting closer.
Welcome to Master the NEC, where we talk about the National Electrical Code and all things electrically related. My name is Paul Abernathy, your host, and welcome to today's podcast. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Master the NEC, where we talk about the National Electrical Code. My name is Paul Abernathy, and today's topic we're going to talk estimating software and pricing. Okay, so really does stress a lot of people out. So years ago, I don't even want to date myself, but let's just say back in the 80s, I did a lot of bidding, and me and my brother had an electrical contracting business in the late 80s, early 90s. And, one of the biggest stressors of that job was we could get the work. We could get people interested in the work. But the problem was the bidding it, estimating it, making sure we weren't leaving too much meat on the bone, if you will. And we have competitors out there, and we wanted to make sure we were all very competitive, that we weren't overcharging, we weren't undercharging, and sometimes that can be stressful because you bid on projects and you don't get them and you don't always know why, and so you start going through your mind, was I too high? Or was I too low, where the people said, God, this can't be right, this guy's too cheap. Sometimes you win jobs that way. But at the end of the day, you just didn't know. So early on, I got involved in an estimating software, and it had labor units on it, man-hour units, and then, of course, it had products on it, and it pretty much constantly updated with all of the products that are out there. So anytime a manufacturer came out with products, it would refresh itself. Of course, you had to buy updates to it back then. You didn't do it through the internet. Today, that's kind of changed, and everything gets updated, and new releases come, and things like that. But it really helped me out. It reduced the stress. Now, if you're a small company, 5 employees or less, then, you have to gauge whether or not that's something you want, an estimating software or a bidding software. Because there's a couple ways that you bid today. So, a lot of times people will go into this and they'll do it per square foot bidding. And sometimes that can take advantage of people. For example, let me give you an example. If I have a 1,200 square foot dwelling, and I'm going to go in at $5 or $6 per square foot, then I'm doing that as the base price, and that's going to be basic switches, basic devices. It doesn't include luminaires, and so you negotiate all these things out. If they want ceiling fans, it's boxes, for example, or they're going to have ceiling fans put up, then it's an extra $175 per ceiling fan box. Or if they're going to have recessed cans, maybe it's an extra $145 or $150 per recessed can, over and above your normal spec type of bid per square foot. So it allows you to kind of work up a price. However, you can't use that method, for example, when you're doing a service change, because then you're really gouging people. Because if I'm doing a 200 amp service change from 100 amp and I use the same square footage method, then I'm going to overcharge for doing a simple service upgrade. Now, that would be great, but you're going to price yourself out of jobs, and it's just wrong. So one of the things is maybe you kind of got to use your experience, and I know what it takes for me to do a change out, and maybe you don't altogether lose your shirt on one, but you kind of come up with a pricing method, and so you adjust your rate per square footage for a house based on the service upgrade. And so maybe I'm $5 or $6 a square foot for let's say a residential job, but maybe I'm as low as $3, $3.50 for a service change based on a square footage. So you got to play with that. Now, there's other people who won't use a square foot method. They'll use a line item method or even a takeoff method, and they're going to go through every little piece and every little component. And that's great when you got the blueprints that you can go over it. A lot of the residentials you don't. It's spec. You just come in and you just have to go by feel. I've wired many houses, and I've wired multi-million-dollar houses where there wasn't a drawing that actually showed electrical placement and things like that. So I just kind of had to go through and lay it out to code, or have a couple meetings with the owners or the GC, and we discuss these things. And so it really depends on your situation. But if you got a drawing, it really can work out because you can take that drawing and you can start taking off and marking things, and it really works out pretty easy. And that's what estimators do on the big companies that get those big drawings. They'll do takeoffs. Because, when you get to big jobs like that, you really can't use the square footage. I couldn't have a 850,000 square foot building and just immediately go, I'm just going to charge $5 per square foot. It's not the way it's going to work. So it's really all relevant. Residential is a little more easier to use that format. And then some people, again, will use a simple takeoff and count each component. But then you got to come up with your labor hours. There are books out there, nationally available books that will give you labor hours for expected tasks, like the labor hours for laying one piece of EMT tubing, what it would take to, and it figures in putting on the connector, putting on the coupling, and then it comes up with a labor unit. Again, that's going to fluctuate wherever you're at in the country. Okay, that might be the same for the Northeast, but it's not going to actually be the same for California, where it could be different. So you'll have to tweak it. And that also goes with a lot of these softwares. You might have to tweak it because it goes on a national average. And you can Google a little bit and try to find what the average is in your area, because today you have the things like AngiList, Home Advisors, and they publish a lot of this information. It can kind of give you an idea of what the going rates are, and then you can kind of break that down. But again, you can do that yourself. You know what it takes. You get paid an hour, or what you pay an employee an hour, and then, kind of come up with how long it takes to put in the switch, how long it takes to put in a receptacle, how long it takes to put in, run 100 feet of NMB. So you can come up with it, but it's labor intensive. Okay. So if you're starting out or you're small, then an estimating software might be the way to go. Now, the thing about some of these estimating softwares is, when you're first starting out or you're 5 guys or less, you're saying, well, I don't have a lot of money to put in these things. And some of these can be $3,000, $4,000, and $5,000. And that's true. And your need needs to be relevant. If you're a small contractor doing service work, you're doing residential, then you could probably come up with your own format. There are some options out there, for example, in Excel, but it's not going to bring in the most relevant product keep updated. So that's really what you're paying for. You're paying for the interface to make your job as easy as possible. Nobody wants to sit in front of the computer all day pricing out jobs. I want to get a good, accurate price. I want to feel I'm fair, competitive, and when I push that button, I'm like, I'm confident. I gave a good price based on what this information is here. I might have adjusted it for my area, the economics of the area, and tailored it to that. Then you can feel confident about it, and you can spend more time selling. You can spend more time doing it. So that's the beauty of the softwares. Now, talking a little bit about software, there's a lot of estimating software out there. Some of them are more expensive than others, but there's some good ones out there. For example, when I got started in the industry years ago, I was with a company called Conest, and that's C-O-N-E-S-T. And they have a website, conest.com, C-O-N-E-S-T.com. The problem with that is they really don't give their pricing online. So for me, it was, I got in, I paid a price, and then of course, I got to update, I paid some more money. Every year I had to renew, and it got costly for me to do that. But again, if you had projects coming, it pays for itself. It balances out. It's not that big of a deal. And it's an expense that I knew that I had to do. Now, there's some other big name ones out there. McCormick, for example, that's McCormicksys.com. They're out of Phoenix, Arizona. They're a great estimating software. Now, they usually will integrate in with other types of programs so they can create other suites, and they kind of integrate. And that's, that's what you're paying for. And they're great software. They do the job. And they might even have invoicing involved. They might have other inventory, bid takeoff, and everything is all incorporated in to give you multiple options in how you price your project. And there's a couple other ones out there in the industry like Red Rhino, and there's one called Vision Infosoft, and things like that. But today I'm going to talk about one that's probably little known. They're not overly expensive, although they do offer a pricier product, which looks to be pretty sharp. And you can check that out on their website. If you're a medium to large construction firm, electrical contractor, and you really need that full scale, you're doing a lot of bidding, accuracy is extremely important. For that, then that might be the product for you. And if it's going to cost you $1,000, $2,000, then it might be worth it for you. Again, the aggravation that it saves you in bidding, that's going to be worth it. Now, some people out there are going to say, well, I don't have aggravation, Paul. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no problem bidding. Well, that's great. You're probably a medium to small size company that you've done enough that you're able to bid those out. But as you start getting bigger, then your time is going to be pulled away. You're going to manage your company. You got to make sure everybody's doing things right. You can hire these people, but when you hire people, you're going to pay labor. So I'm looking for working smarter, not harder. So if I have somebody that I can take, maybe an electrician who I can pull off the job one day and say, here, bid this for me. I'll give you a little bonus if you do this. And he can use a software that's pretty basic and they can come up with it. It allows your time to do what you do best, and that is manage and run your company. So not everybody's going to have the same knowledge you have. So it allows me to train somebody using a software and have less mistakes. And that's the biggest thing. So if you're a big company, you might have estimators that work for your company and they do big takeoffs, or they have these estimating softwares. They probably will. But if you're a smaller company, then I'm going to give you another alternative that might help you. Other than you could do a takeoff. Okay, so back in the day, we used to do a takeoff, whereas if I had something, I would write down every device, every box, every raceway, every foot of wire, even down to every screw, every lock nut, everything down. And then I would come up with a labor unit for it. And then I'd have the price. Then I'd have to work my overhead into it. I had to take those things, and it had certain things called burden, and that was the insurances and benefits that I was paying. Don't ever discount those. They have to be figured in. And the hourly rate of my employee, or even myself, if you're a one-man or woman shop, you have the burden. You have to figure those things into it. You have expenses that you have to take into account. It's just not as simple as saying, well, here's my labor hour, and here's the number of hours that I can get this job done, and I'm multiplying them, and there you go. You have those other things you need to take into account, or you're going to lose your shirt. Trust me, you got to think about these other things. So having an estimating software really does take the stress out of it, because I can just punch stuff in, print something out, feel confident with it, and move on, and I can tweak it as I need it. All right, so we're going to look at a software. So I'm going to tell you a website to go look at it, and we're going to only talk about 2 of their products. Now, they have other products that integrate, and you need to talk to them. But 2 of their products I found to be pretty darn efficient, and I've talked to a couple people that has used it and they like it. Every product has something that people would like a little bit better, but for a bare bone, for the price, it really seems to be useful. Now, I've even seen people that use this product, and again, I'm not getting paid. I don't have any discount coupon to give you. It's just based on my experience. All those McCormick and ConEst are great softwares as well. Okay, I'm trying to get you started and give you a economical approach to lightening up your bidding process. If you do residential and you're so familiar with it that you're like, dude, I've got this thing worked out, whereas I charge an square footage fee based on my area because I've looked at my costs and I know what it takes to do the job, and I have this little a la carte deal, or if they want to do something other than the norm, like recess cans or whatever, that I know how much to add per unit on it, that's fine. You might even have the approach where you take each switch, and each switch has a price on it, and it's the number of devices, and that's how you come up with your pricing. That's fine, however you have achieved it. But if you get used to using a software, then it really is simplifying it for you, and you get them bids out much quicker. And you can get other people trained to do what you know in your mind, but you can get them to do it, and it kind of takes that stress away. If you have a wife or somebody in your household that can then help you, then it really relieves that stress so you can spend time doing work. Okay. But anyway, enough of that. So the website I want you to go to is called electricalestimatingsoftware.com. Again, I don't get paid by them. There's no promotion for them. I am not here to push them over anybody else. I just know from feedback that I've gotten from other people that are small to medium-sized contractors that actually use their product, they feel pretty confident about their product. So I'm going to kind of give you those. So when you go to that website, you'll click on it. When you go to it, you'll be at the home screen. In the home screen, you'll see products across the front. And you'll see where it talks about it'll say electrical estimating software. There's an electrical residential estimator, if that's all you do. Okay. Then you have project management software if you're a bigger company and you need to manage projects as well. And then, of course, you have what's called DigiCount, which, again, is a takeoff software. And then, of course, you have Best Bid, and then you have a product called Hybrid Bid. So that's if you're doing larger scale projects or you need some more bells and whistles, I should say, like that. Okay, so there's a bunch of array. If you've got the money to spend and you're starting that company. I know a company, for example, that is down in Waco, Texas, who is a heating and cooling and mechanical, and they've already got a name out there, right? And so they're jumping right into the electrical business, and they have absolutely no experience at all. But they're hiring an electrical manager who's going to run it and grow that business. The first advice that I would give them is, since you already have this established footprint, you're going to get the business. You're going to get in there and get the HVAC bids and the plumbing and mechanical bids. You might as well start off well into it. So you might go with something like the Best Bid, and they have hybrids that kind of integrate other components, like we talked about with the McCormick's and the Con S. And those other options might be something you need to look at as well. But go on and gear up for that prospect, okay? Because you already have that infrastructure. But if you're an electrical contractor, 5 guys or less or 10 guys or less, and it's small to medium, you take some medium-sized commercial stuff and some residential, and you really want to simplify it, or you'd like to have somebody else do this for you, so you can do it, but you want to train somebody else. Most of these softwares they allow you to tailor those labor units to your area and tweak it a little bit. And so that's what you're going to deal with. So that might be a better option for you. Now, they have videos. You can look at demos. You can watch a video on the DigiCount takeoff. You can download. It has things like download conduit and wire pricing. It really is up to date, and that's the important thing. Okay. Then they have some offers, some specials, which I'm not even going to talk about, but you can look on some specials, and it just gives you a lot of information about the company and things like that. Okay. But let's just kind of go to the one I recommend, and that is to look at the electrical estimating system. And they'll have a button on there that says read more. Go on and click that. All right. So that talks about this software. Now, this software, are you ready for this? $299.95. That's it. That's all it is for the software. Now, what does it say on here? Let's kind of read it a little bit. I'm going to read it to you. Here's what it says. From company information, lighting rough-in summaries, request for lighting quotes, switch options summary, receptacle options summary, HVAC options, HVAC summary, feeder options, feeder summaries, multi-conductor feeder options. That's amazing. It gives you that option. Multi-conductor feeder summary, site PVC options, quotes, labor breakdown, job summary. You can even print a list of database items for pricing, pages of custom assemblies. All can be reached with just a click of the button from the master control panel. All that for $299.95. All right? Now, that's pretty amazing in itself. But what are we dealing with here in this type of software? What are some other things that this might involve for $299.95? And again, there's some that are $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000. And that might be what you need if you're those large-scale company. But I don't even know that. This might solve most of your needs. Okay? In fact, one of the things that I used to find was a limitation in some of the older software is if I did a 100-foot run and I need to alter that in the software, it was hard for it to do that. With here, if I'm doing an installation and I pricing it out as a quote and it's 100 feet, and if they really ended up needing 125 feet, it allows for that adjustment later and figure that in, and it shows that in the software that I had an update to it. So if I have an extra length of feeder, receptacles, lighting, or even switches and something changes, it's very live. It allows you to do that. So, again, one of the things that it says is don't be caught again with only 2 inches of conductor allowed to terminate for, say, an MDP. that's what happens when you do a quote in the pricing. So this becomes very fluid. Okay. In the software, I get to choose things like die cast or steel fittings, EMT or galvanized rigid, grounding conductors or not. All this stuff allows me to choose the size. I can add multi-conductor feeder options. I can have custom assemblies, tailor it the way I want to tailor it based on maybe what the wire I'm ordering, whether it's layers or parallels or what I'm doing. All of that integrated into the software, and it's a fully automated system. It's not just a database where you click and drop stuff into the shopping cart. All right. I really encourage you to get with them, check it out. Their phone number is 800-941-7028. And so, again, they do have a quote on here. One customer, and this is pretty neat, one customer pointed out that with a price for only $299.95 based on a 20% profit margin, they only had to increase their workload by a total of $1,500 over the lifetime of the software for it to pay for itself. Okay? So, if you think about it, that's pretty amazing. You can pay for this pretty quickly in the jobs, the productivity, getting it out quicker, having somebody else help you. Think about your time. If I can train somebody else on this, a wife or somebody else, then you know what? It really makes it really easy to be able to work this out. Now, that's the software. Now, there's another one. I go back to the home screen. There's another one I want you to look at. And it is called, if you're just doing residential, okay, then you can look at the residential estimator. That is one other option that you can look at. But the other one is you go up to products and you go down and you'll see under the products tab at the very top, you'll come down to what's called a electrical database. Now click on the electrical database. Now what is this? Now this is the software that's designed to save you time and money, increase accuracy and price for everyone. Now this is a database tool that is great whether you're just starting out as an add-on to the software or you're even a seasoned veteran. It allows this for helping get quick change orders, service calls, or even you can do full estimates from it. Okay, you get to search through a database as you move through the worksheets, and you can create a complete list of material prices, and it will give you the man hours for those associated products that allows you to do maybe flat rate pricing right there on the job. So it kind of allows you to work through it. Now the database comes with over 100 blank lines, so you can add custom items along with the hundreds of preset things that are already in there. And it's got like the EMT, rigid, PVC, flex, seal tight, connectors, conductors, MC cables, anything, hardware straps, plaster rings. I mean, it's just got all the devices that are designed into it. Okay, now it's really geared towards commercial industrial work because, for the residential one, they have another product for that. So if you're just doing that, then the 1CEES residential estimator is going to cover all this. But if you're doing the estimating software, this is a good add-on for those commercial. And again, it's only $75. That is just amazes me. Okay? So again, it requires Microsoft Windows. And its kind of foundation is Excel. And I like Excel because it's been around, so it really has a flawless function. So it's really simple to operate. And again, $75 for this product. I'd love for them to send me one and let me do a review on it so I can promote it. But it seems to me that based on the people I've talked with, it is really a no overly cumbersome frills type of estimating software that can really get the job done. If you need a price quickly, then the electrical database might be. So you got the $299 for the estimating software. If you just do residential, then you can go with just the residential product. Now the residential electrical product is only $99. I mean, it just blows my mind. That was a residential estimator. And it's the perfect tool when you're doing a single family home. And it really will save you time. And that's what it's all about, saving you time. So you have a bunch of options here, or you can go for the big money. Okay? And you could go for, it also even have a panel scheduler if you want something to do your panel. Now, if I could go for what's called their best bid, and it's their best bid software, And this one allows you to do the estimating and takeoffs and everything. It's one solution. They have a bunch of different offers here, from a light version all the way up to the more expensive version. And then they have a side-by-side comparison. So you get the side-by-side and compare it. And again, their most expensive one is right at $2,000. And I'm going to be honest with you. It is... Look at what it does. Look at the breakdown on what this software will bring. Offer for you. Unlimited databases, lifetime updates for that price. The list goes on. It just scrolls down, all the way down. Now, they have some lighter versions that allow you, maybe you don't need to all these bells and whistles. But you can get the best hybrid version for about $1,500, and it will pay for itself. And then you can get the basic best bid for $999. Or look, to be honest with you, you really only need to have what I told you earlier, and that is simply the electrical estimating system. And maybe what you add to it is the electrical database. You need to contact them and see what's your best needs, and let them understand that you might only be a 5-man shop or a 6-man shop or a 10-man shop. Your needs will grow. But if you're just doing residential and you want to lighten up your load, you don't want to sit there and worry about losing your money with maybe the square foot method, then use this option and look at a blueprint. Get your take-up wheel. I have one that I roll across the plan, gives me ideas, and of course you can fudge in some plus and minuses, 10% to cover yourself, because again, it's a linear thing when you're looking at a plan. Maybe you're experienced of dealing with it that way. However you want to price it, we're looking to make the job easier. And so this is a software that you could do. Now, hopefully, I might even invest in this in order to be able to do an extensive review on this for our channel. And again, I do reviews, and it might be on our Master the NEC channel. And if I endorse it, then I will give a blazing endorsement for certain aspects of it. And things like that. Right now, I can refer it because I know people that use it, but I don't know all the ins and outs of it. So at this point, it's, buyer beware, but it seems affordable, and it seems like it does it. And other people that I've talked to have been very pleased with it. So that's why I'm going to give it a thumbs up right now. Okay. We'll see how it goes. If I get more detailed in it, maybe I'll update it at this point. Now, with that said, remind you, there are others out there. Connest is connest.com, medium to large project estimator. McCormick Estimating, again, is at McCormick System, or at McCormickSYS.com. You have Red Rhino System, which is www.hardhatis.com. You even have what's called Vision InfoSoft. That is visioninfosoft.com. All great estimating software. Okay, but this one seems to be very affordable, and it's really good for those starting up. Even though it looks to me like they have such a suite that it would even be able to be used by any of the large major electrical contracting businesses and work well for you. So check them out. Again, that is electricalestimatingsoftware.com. Again, electricalestimatingsoftware.com. And again, I have thousands and thousands of listeners. Give this a shot. If you're a first timer and you can't drop $299.95 into an estimating software, or $99.95 into a residential estimating software, you really need to look at your costs, because that's a small amount to pay to get you into something that might make your life a lot easier. And if I'm going to do flat rate pricing, I can spend the money on a flat rate system. I can come up with my own, or I can get into the concept of using possibly this program in here called the electrical database, and try to do that and come up with what I need, labor hours to do something. And we'll probably do a review on flat rate pricing software at a later date, because there are a lot of people that want to use flat rate pricing. Whereas they go to the job, you have a well-stocked truck, you're already there, you look at the job, it has different levels of complexity. You look at it and you say, this is the price to do this, and this is what the price is to do it right now. I've got the stuff on my truck, let's do this. And sometimes it is a better price than what it would be if you quoted it out. But they're going to pay you right then, you're going to get it done. And a lot of times it puts the decision making right on the one who makes that decision, and you can make that sale. So that's why a lot of people like the flat rate pricing. So anyway, check these softwares out. Again, use your square footage method. Doesn't work real well when you're doing panel changes, for example. I don't want to charge the same $5 and $6 for a 1,200 to 1,500 square foot home as I would for a 100 to 200 amp panel change. Then I would be gouging somebody. I might have to adjust my square footage price in order to make it more reasonable. And sometimes that stresses people out. They don't know how to do that. Or they might go to the take up, or they might go the item by item pricing, or they might charge by device and come up. There's many ways to do it. You have to learn your own way, but sometimes a inexpensive estimating software that is updated to the latest products out there in the labor units that you can tweak and adjust, this allows you to get a head start into it and get more bids, win more jobs, get more business, and also train somebody else to assist you with this because you already have the software all set up and all you got to do is kind of help them along. And since this one, for example, is Excel based, it shouldn't really have a steep learning curve to it. Okay. Anyway, seems to be real flexible. So again, guys, thanks for listening. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you have any questions, email us at info@masterthenec.com or info@electricalcodeacademy.com. Watch our videos, listen to our podcasts. Go to our YouTube channel. You can get there by going to the website, and there's a button up there that says click on it for the YouTube channel. Click on that. Go to our Facebook page. Go to our Twitters. All of that can be gotten to by going to our website. So again, until next time, folks, stay safe and God bless.
Every day, the future's getting closer. Every day, the future's looking bright. Every day is another beginning.